All right, welcome. So my name is Kelly. I'm the Plant-Based Kitchenista. So if you're new to our courses, welcome. I really appreciate it. And if you've been around and been attending this, welcome back. And I really appreciate it also. So just to let you know and stuff, we do these about every 2 weeks. Every once in a while we have, because I do work full time also, I have a little bit of scheduling issues, or I'll end up going on to, got invited to be on the CNS kitchen, which is Colin Campbell's kitchen this month. And so I had to kind of rearrange the schedule a little bit. But I am working on getting out the February and March schedules. So get those out so you'll be able to see those and you'll get advertisement when those come out. So that way we can get through at least like 3 months worth of classes. But tonight we are, so just to let you know, and I'm sure you guys know that already, but we are plant-based. So we don't cook with any oil. So there's always three things we saute with, which is your vegetable broth or stock, water, which plenty full of water. And then if we do some kind of a sauce, like a marinara sauce or something like that, we might saute with a little bit of white wine. But that's usually pretty rare. I would say if I buy a box of like a white wine like Franzia, and it's kind of like a white, like a dry white wine, I probably have it for a year or more. So don't use a lot of white wine, but it's every once in a while. So we always talk about what we do. We also, when I'm cooking, I have black pepper, but my recipes all have, say, sea salt and black pepper to taste. We stay away from as far as cooking with the salt. I do have salt on the table and stuff in case me wants to have some salt on the different ingredients. Jerry doesn't like salt at all. So, to kind of keep the household, I guess, the way it should be and things, I don't cook with salt. I just add it at the table when I'm looking for it. But feel free to add it, and taste it as you go. That's what this is all about. We also talk about when I'm doing, and then I'll get Jerry to introduce himself, but we also talk about when I'm doing spices, is everybody has a little bit of different palate on the spices. These are definitely tried true recipes. But when you start with spicing things, and if I say, like on the mushroom stroganoff that we're going to do tonight, I say 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika. You're thinking, yeah, I don't know. And I don't know if I like smoked paprika. Go with like an 1/8 of a teaspoon or maybe a 1/2 of a teaspoon. Try that first, taste it, and then always add more spices and mark up your recipes to how you want to do it. But don't go, I'd say on any recipe, doesn't matter if it's mine or Pinterest or anything else that you're out there, even these, famous cookbooks that are out there, start with low on your spices and then add, because you can always add, but once you add it all in, it's hard to take away. So definitely watch that. Those are always just tips and tricks that I give. So I think we'll do first, so recipes, and then I'll let Jerry introduce himself. We're going to do mushroom stroganoff. So mushroom stroganoff, huge base type of recipe, easy to do, easy to have around, especially if you have mushrooms. But think about too, that when I give you the base recipe, you can always add things to it. So if you're thinking, wow, I like mushrooms, but I'd really like to have some peas in there, or I would like to add some maybe zucchini, because you've got some of that maybe is starting to get to in the refrigerator that needs to be chopped up or used, or you've got broccoli that's in these big packets, all those kind of things like that. You can always add more vegetables into it. And then you can also use the mushroom stroganoff as far as like you can use it over baked potatoes. There's so many things that you can do with these recipes that if you really like this recipe, meal prep it out and make like double the recipe and then use it in many different ways over the week, which is really fun. So, and then we're going to do a Caesar salad, but it's a little bit of an amped up Caesar salad, which we'll talk about here in just a couple of minutes. So first, before I get started to cook, which is, I think, the fun part about the whole entire class, I will let Jerry introduce himself.
Welcome, everybody, and Happy New Year. Just thanks for joining us. My name is Jerry Casales, for those people who have not met me or heard about me. I'm a plant-based nutritionist, certified instructor also in John McDougall's Plant Start Solution program. And I have a private practice, try to help people transition to a plant-based diet or adjust their diets, whatever they need, just, stuff like that. So if you're interested, I do a free 30-minute consultation. Get it out. Anyway, so yeah, I'm here to eat, basically, and watch Kelley cook and
eat.
But anyway, you can chat window. We got our contact information in there, so you can any nutrition questions, just feel free. So with that,
let me hurry Kelley along so I can eat. That's definitely, as Chef AJ always says, Jerry's very lucky. And she was talking about, I think last time that we had a class about switching out the husbands. And he's Gary's like, no, because he likes my cooking. But I think it'd probably be better off to ship me to California to just cook for Chef AJ. So that would be a fun week. All right, so mushroom stroganoff and Caesar salad. So I'm going to get started on the ingredients, the vegetables and the beans and stuff that are going to go into the Caesar salad. And that way, because I have to put them in the oven and I want to give them a little bit of time to roast. So first thing that we're going to get going, grab a bowl. So we've got 2 small sweet potatoes cut into, into basically 1/2-inch circles. So the sweet potatoes that I got were, I was looking for the ones that were about that big around. So I thought those rounds would be great. Well, not in the stores here in Colorado. So I end up the cuts and stuff, the circles were about this big, which is, you can use those in the Caesar salad, but I was like, oh, I'll do them. So I just did them in quarters. So I got little quarter pieces and stuff, which is a little bit easier to eat. So just, sometimes you have to kind of ad lib with whatever you find in the stores or don't find in the stores. And you could use, these are just like sweet potato yams. You could use the Hannah potatoes, which are more the white potatoes. They're not as sweet, but they are just as good. And then you could also use the purple one. So, just depending on what you're looking for, or you could mix them all up together and make something that's completely different. So I'm just going to add those to a bowl. I was soaking them. I cut them last night and I soaked them in water in the fridge. And so you'll see just a little bit of water on them, but that keeps them from, because sweet potatoes and stuff, the minute you chop them up, you'll see the like little black spots and things like that, that'll start to show up on them. So if you just soak them in water and make sure it's like all the way to the top and then put some plastic wrap on them and put in the fridge, then you could do it the day before or a couple days before, and then get things ready and you're all ready. So then no salt chickpeas. So just a Cooner's brand. So we've got 1 can of those. I just rinsed and drained. That's all I did with that. Easy to do. And if you're a big fan of like no salt and Cooner's and things like that, at least as of last week and stuff, there's huge sales going on in the store because they tend to be, it used to be like you could get things for like 89 cents a can, which was great, and you could buy a case of them and have them, in a pantry or shelves or basement or something like that. Well, they've doubled, like just like everything, 300% markup in groceries. But they had a sale where they were $1 a can. So I ended up buying a couple cases of the Cooner's. So I did like chickpeas and black beans and things because it's like we use them for tostados and burritos. So it's nice to have them around and not have to worry about only having 2 cans and going to the store. But I know everybody doesn't have shelf space to do that, but we're lucky that we have a big basement that's not finished that we can, put a couple shelves down there. I bet if people like maybe like the furnace guys and things like that went through, they probably think we're like worrying about like something like the world's ending or something because they see all the cans and things down there. And I think we actually had a handyman in here, and he asked us that question of like, are you planning for like the world doom? Or I don't have that many cans, but there's enough, like 2 or 3 cases of black beans, chickpeas, because we use them a lot. So, but they are almost salt. So then we're going to do a teaspoon of chipotle chili powder. And then we're going to do 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika. My favorite brand, of course, if they're in Denver, so they're called Savory Spice. So if you're in the Colorado area, great, you can get these, but you can also order them online. But there's so many spice lines out there. But what I like about Savory Spice is that they grind everything here at a warehouse at like I-70, and then they ship it into their stores in these, big containers, but they go through so much spices that I never worry about things like tasting like it tastes old or something like sometimes when you buy it in the store, it tastes like it's old already or doesn't have any flavor. So what I do is, of course, have all the jars. Great advertisement for them, but this is sweet smoked Spanish paprika, which is my favorite. But what I do is I just take the jars and then I buy these packets. Over here. I go in and you can buy these packets. And so you can buy 2 cups, 4 cups, 1 cup, a little bit of cups and things like that. And so $7, $8 jar, what you buy in the stores, I can keep refilling it. And if I, let's just say I spent $20 for this, I can refill this jar and I get it for like $3 a jar, which saves a lot in spices. So kind of a nice little handy thing. You can definitely order all their stuff online, just like pretty much all the other spice places that are out there. So let me just put that over there because we don't need that right now. So 2 teaspoons smoked paprika and 1 teaspoon the chipotle chili powder. So that's why I'm saying it's a little bit of amped up. If you don't like spicy, leave out the chipotle chili. And then if you don't want smoky, leave out, just do a regular, just a straight paprika. Do that. So there's a couple of different tips. And then you're just going to do a little bit of a drizzle of vegetable broth. And that's more just to, just to make sure all your spices and everything are sticking to the vegetables, but since to the sweet potatoes and stuff, but since there was some water on them, there's not an issue. And then when you put them on a baking sheet with parchment paper, it's going to do like a steam roast on that also. It smells good. The sweet, smoky Spanish paprika is one of my favorites. It just has a really, really good flavor. And a good smell. Okay, grab. And if you think about the sweet potatoes and the chickpeas are something like if you're doing some meal prep on a Sunday and you're like, gosh, I'd really like the Caesar salad again, do it ahead of time. You can keep it cold in the refrigerator and in some glass jars or, glass containers and stuff and then just have it ready and then just add it to the salads when you're ready. I'm just going to put it onto the baking sheet with parchment paper. But a fun way, even though this has chickpeas, you could actually do like cannellini white beans if you have some of those navy beans. That if you're not a big fan of chickpeas, I would say Jerry, when we used to, before we were plant-based, he actually didn't like chickpeas. They'd put them in salads and stuff, and he would actually take them out of the salads. But now we eat them all the time. So, taste change. We'll separate a couple of these out. If for some reason when you put this in the oven, because we're going to put it at 425, and that's because of a fast roasting process. If it starts getting a little dry, then just come back in and drizzle it, and I'll watch it. But just drizzle it with some vegetable broth or water. You don't have to do vegetable broth if you don't want to, but that'll keep it from getting a little bit too dry. So in the oven, 425. We're going to watch it. So I'll probably be checking it about every 5 minutes or so, just so I can make sure that, like the chickpeas are getting caramelized and the sweet potatoes, but they're not getting too dried out. So that's what I'm gonna do with the Caesar salad. And I'm gonna stop there because I'm gonna get the mushroom stroganoff because everything else pretty much for the Caesar salad is ready. I meal prep, not meal prep, but I actually, mise en place, I actually do that with everything when we're making the recipes, just to get things done. Sometimes I'll do this when I'm getting ready to do recipes. Like I think, okay, tomorrow we're going to do, I don't know, like the special burritos and stuff that we have. And there's certain things that like chopping up lettuce or getting things ready. I'll do that ahead of time. So that way, when I get ready to start cooking, that it's fast. And it's all about, it's not about standing in the kitchen and chopping for 5 hours to get a meal done. It's about how quickly can you get things ready, but that taste good and make you feel good. And so Chef AJ and I were talking on her last show that I just did about sometimes it's not about doing everything from scratch. It's sometimes, if you don't like to chop things, you can buy onions, you can buy peppers and things like that already chopped up. And you're okay with using things that are like that. Mushrooms are already sliced. You don't have to do the slicing. And there's ways to do those kind of shortcuts that still have the same great taste that somebody maybe spent hours chopping and doing that kind of thing. So always think about that of things that you can now buy, 5-10 years ago, you couldn't do that, but now everything is readily available. So, all right. So mushroom stroganoff. So we're going to drizzle so we're going to get this started and drizzle some broth, some vegetable broth in there. Like I said, if you don't have vegetable broth, water works just fine. And when you're doing a lot of sauteing, I'm always full of tips and tricks, but when you're doing a lot of sauteing, like with onions to caramelize them, you'll find that like your vegetable broth will burn off really quick. Not like when you had oil and you'd sit there and you could, let it kind of simmer for a long time. Vegetable broth will burn off real quick. If you don't want it to burn off as fast, just do like a half and half. Do like a half a drizzle or a couple tablespoons of vegetable broth and then a couple tablespoons of water. And that way it'll keep it going longer and you don't have to worry about things burning and sticking to the bottom of your pan. So I'll just set that to the side because we'll need that here in a little bit. So the first thing, and I'm just following the directions in case you have the recipes in front of you, you're gonna peel and dice the onion. I already have the onion done. We have white onions here in the house, but you can do white, yellow, red, whatever you have. If you don't have onions and you have a bunch of scallions or shallots or something like that, use those. It's okay. You just want that onion flavor. And another tip and trick too is you could actually use the dried onion flakes. So you can use those too. I've used those in a lot of times in burgers when I wanted something really quick. And you can get, big bulk containers or small containers at the store, or big bulk ones at like Costco for very inexpensive for the minced onion flakes. So we're going to let these saute a little bit. So the way that you know that the onions are ready to start adding other things into it is that they start going translucent. And so it's not like you can see all the way through an onion, but they turn from the opaque white to, like if you're using the white ones, to more where it's kind of a murky, I guess like a ghost white or something. So you can tell that they've actually started to cook down a little bit. So let those going. So we've got the onions in there. So we're going to saute. Depending on, what kind of a stove that you're using, whether you're using gas, electric, or one of these induction burners, will depend on how long it takes to saute them. So just kind of watch them. If you end up like the moisture kind of comes out of them a little bit, just feel free to add a little bit more vegetable broth or water. But they usually, the recipe is like 5 minutes, depending on electric stoves and things. But if you've got a gas stove or induction burner, which is like very concentrated heat, it may take you only about a minute or two. Love onions. Onions and garlic is the start of like every recipe. And I know there's some people out there that don't like that, but I get it, but it's good. All right, so then we've got the onions. So then we're going to thinly slice the mushrooms. So this is 16 ounce. These are baby bellas. You can use whatever's your favorite. So if your store only has the white button mushrooms, or you've got a mixture of different mushrooms or portobello, use whatever you want. These, in our areas and stuff in Colorado, the baby bellas are always really, really fresh, more fresh than the button mushrooms. And then they tend to be a better price too, which, go figure. You would think the button mushrooms would be cheaper, but they're not. So we're going to get those in there in just a second. But all I did is I just bought these whole, and because I just kind of look at the prices to see what's the best price and what you get the most for your money. And they were whole, so I just did a quick slice with a knife. But you can slice them up with a microplane, or you can just buy them already sliced. I'll tell you up front though, I am not a mushroom fan. So this is something I'm making for Jerry. I will, if anything comes with mushrooms, like you can see the chunks of mushrooms, I will actually take the mushrooms out of what I'm eating to give them to him, because he loves them. And he talks about, all the good nutrients. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't like them. I think it's like cilantro. It's like you either like them or you don't like them. Mine, they taste like dirt to me, and I don't like the texture when you bite into them. But if it's ground up in something like burgers and stuff, I'm fine. But all these mushrooms will end up with Jerry. So probably after we're done, I'll end up making this up and stuff, and we're sitting down to eat dinner, because this will be our dinner. I'll probably end up moving the mushrooms to the side and adding like some peas and maybe some broccoli. So I'll still have the stroganoff, but it will be like a vegetable stroganoff, not a mushroom. So that's my story, sticking to it. All right, so we're gonna the onions, nice and translucent. So about a minute and a half. So they're good. They're gonna cook more. So even if they're not fully translucent, they'll be okay. Yucky mushrooms, but mushrooms are going. I cook with a lot of mushrooms. There's a lot of mushroom recipes and that type of thing. Like I said, and we order them on pizzas when we have a pizza place that we go to that doesn't do it without cheese and all that, but I won't eat them. So kind of watch, if it looks like it's getting a little dry when you're mixing things together, then just give it just kind of stir in your mushrooms and give it just maybe a half a minute or so, because mushrooms are one of those ingredients and vegetable stuff that put out a lot of moisture. So if you thinking, oh, it's really dry, and you add a bunch of vegetable broth or water, what you're going to find and stuff is that it's going to be so much liquid that you're going to have to drain it off. So just kind of play with it a little bit. If it starts getting sticky and dry, then just add a little bit of vegetable broth in. But just let it cook for just a few minutes and see what's going on. I like the little baby bellas also, just because like when you're making something like a stroganoff and it's more of a creamy sauce, your white button mushrooms kind of get lost. And so having the different colors and things is pretty. So it's another one of those what I call eye candy. When you look at something, everybody's like, ooh, that looks good. And these aren't putting off a lot of moisture. So you can see there's no liquid or anything like that at all. It's okay right now, but I'm starting to see a little bit of stickiness on the bottom. So I'm just going to add a little bit of vegetable broth or water. Not a lot, because you can always add more. Same as spices. And this is another thing we talked about, getting things ready like for the Caesar salad. But this is another thing. You could actually saute your mushrooms and onions and everything else up ahead of time. And then just, when it's ready to go and stuff, add your pasta and everything else and then let it cook. And then you've got a meal in about 15 minutes. Let's check why that's cooking. Okay, everything looks good.
Now go and see it. The messages are so powerful. And up next, just kidding.
Somebody unmute there. So it doesn't take too long to actually cook your mushrooms. So you'll notice that they're really starting to darken. And you can you can start smelling the mushrooms and you get a little bit more moisture in that. So those are ready because I'm going to start adding the rest of the ingredients. Because once I add all the ingredients and it's actually sauteing and simmering for probably about 10, 15 minutes, we're good with the mushrooms. I don't want them like real soggy. I want them where they're kind of al dente with maybe a little bit to the soft. All right, so we got garlic. So we're going to do, we got 4 cloves of garlic minced. I'm going to add that in. And that's, garlic's one of the ones you can buy garlic. And then you got, your garlic and your cloves. And what I do is when I take the whole head of garlic, I'll actually put it in the oven and just put it right on the rack at 350. And then I let it roast up. And it's probably, because I got a gas oven, it's probably about 30, 45 minutes. And then I'll do like 10 at a time and I'll let them cool off. And then I'll peel them all down and I'll put them in baggies. And then I use them. So like if I'm looking for more like a roasted garlic sauce in like a marinara sauce, then I'll use the roasted garlic that I have in my freezer. But otherwise and stuff, I just use the regular minced garlic, which is kind of fun. But yeah, you can peel all your garlic down, but you can also buy minced garlic and all those kind of things and have it just in your refrigerator ready. So lots of little shortcuts to get things done faster. Smells good, even with the mushrooms in there. All right, so we got the garlic in there, so we're letting that saute. We're going to add the paprika. So kind of you see some similarities between the two recipes. Stuck to the bottom a little bit. We've got smoked paprika in both, so flavor profiles are very similar, which is really nice. So this is going to give the mushroom stroganoff a little bit of smokiness. Put that in. I'll show you this here in a second. Just get the paprika stirred in. Got some on the spoon there. So you got the onions, the garlic, and the mushrooms. Everything's looking great. So you went from about a 3/4 pan full of mushrooms down to probably about a 1/4 of a pan. Like spinach and greens. You put a lot in and you don't end up with a lot. All right, so now we're going to add in the mustard. So Dijon mustard. If you're not a Dijon mustard fan, you could also do like a stone ground mustard. You could actually mix it up a little bit and add both. Do that. I would say yellow mustard's probably going to be a little bit tart, but there's other kinds of like mustards out there that you could use that would be really good. So we've got mustard. So 2 teaspoons Dijon mustard, my favorite. Dijon mustard on everything. Some of my favorite things is I'm scraping the dish. Some of my favorite things is like I have a dressing recipe that's 3 mustards. So yellow mustard, Dijon mustard, and stone ground mustard. It's like a very mustardy dressing, but you like mustard. If you don't like mustard, you wouldn't like that dressing. there. All right, so we got the mustard, we have vegetable stock. So we've got 16 ounces of the vegetable stock because we're going to add the pasta in. And that's something that you're going to watch also because, like I said, vegetable broth burns off pretty quick. So we'll just kind of watch it as we're, because the pasta is going to soak up a lot of the moisture. So if we need to add a little bit of moisture, we'll just do that. We'll be fine. Oh, that smells good with the Dijon mustard. It's one of my favorites. So we'll stir with that. Okay, so mustard, vegetable stock. We've got a little bit of soy sauce. So we've got 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, low sodium. You could also use tamari. You could also use the coconut aminos if you like that. And I think there's all kinds of other things that you could use out there. Whatever's your favorite. I just tend to go with the low salt because soy sauce has a lot of salt. And that's one of the things too, even though it says sea salt and black pepper to taste, you'll definitely, when you're adding a soy sauce or coconut aminos or something like that, you're going to want to make sure that you taste it before you add any salt because you may have enough salt already. Okay, there. All right, so we've got the soy sauce. We're going to add the pasta. And we've got that ready to go. So let me add the pasta. We're going to use, you can use whatever you want. I asked Jerry and I was just like, okay, what do you want? Do you want spaghetti? Do you want linguine? Do you want more of a penne? Because it's whatever, it's your recipe. It's kind of fun if you do a lot of pastas, and we do a lot of vegetable pastas and zucchini pastas and all that, but kind of fun every once in a while to go grab one of those really fun noodles that you see. So this is the campanelli, which is kind of a really fun, it almost looks like almost like a flower type of thing. And it's just fun. And I've had this box for a little while. So instead of just doing like a penne pasta, I was like, let's do the campanella because that's kind of fun. So that's what we're doing. Yep. Whole wheat. So let me do, 8 ounces. So this is 16 ounces. So I'm going to do about half. Yep, gluten-free option. So let me just grab that. Gluten-free options. I will show you one. Let me grab it from the pantry. This is a really good one. Back about probably, I don't know, 5, 8, 6 years ago, there was lots of, the gluten-free pastas that were coming out, and a lot of people were trying them. But if you guys tried them, then most of the time and stuff, they'd start out really nice and then they turn it into glop. It was just like, oh, these aren't good. Bonza is a really good brand that's out there. So it's chickpeas, and it holds up really well. So it's, you can make, like this one has the little shells that you can do, but they're coming out with more of the different styles. But the spaghetti is really good. I actually one night made our pasta and stuff with the bonza and spaghetti and stuff. And I was just like, so do you like them? And Jerry's like, yeah, it's good. And then I told him later that it was the bonza chickpeas. So that one's a really good one that holds up, and you can find it in most stores, which is really nice. Let's get a quick stir and I'll show you what it looks like. What's nice about this dish, one pot. Good. So taste wise, so just the sauce, there's not, there's the milk products not in it and everything. Good. I mean, it doesn't taste like, to me, it doesn't taste like mushrooms, which good. It's got more of the paprika and a little bit of the Dijon mustard and all that. So I'm going to put this, go ahead and just let that start soaking. I am going to watch it because, like I said, when the pasta starts expanding, it's going to soak up a lot of the moisture. So I may end up having to add a little bit more vegetable broth and kind of play with it a little bit. And it's all going to just depend on what pasta you put in there. So I'm going to put a lid on it. Literally. Perfect. All right, so get that going. So once we get going and it's ready to go, then I'll add the lemon. So lemon juice, because lemon is that one of the things, like the acid and stuff always brings brightness to dishes. So adding a lemon, lime, those type of flavors. And it also kind of takes over for salt. So if you're trying to really stay away from salt, you can add like some lime or some lemon flavor, and it gives you that like your taste buds and stuff, like, oh, it tastes kind of like salt, but it's not quite salt. But it sometimes it'll cut some of those cravings, which is a good thing. So why we don't do salt, health reasons. just, not glitter for us, but just more, Jerry doesn't like it. And it's just healthier not to have so much salt because a lot of things that you get all have salt in them. But the other thing is food addictions. And I know that, Chef AJ talks a lot about food addictions. And when you eat things that are salty, if you're like me, if I eat something that's salty at 3 o'clock today, 3 o'clock tomorrow, for some reason, my brain kicks in and says, wouldn't you like something salty again? Same thing for sweet. It's like, it just like gets in my head. So I'm better off if somebody's like, oh, just try a little bite. And I'm just like, nope, because I know the way my brain thinks and my body craves things. I just stay away from both because I crave those. And you end up eating more, that type of a thing. So it's just one of those things to watch is all it's about. You have no problems. Sea salt, black pepper to taste. I'm going to add a little bit of vegetable broth it's thickening up. So just want to make sure my pasta does well. So that was probably about a 1/4 cup, but that's it. All right, let's check. We can do a quick stir. Roasted chickpeas, nothing better. You can do all kinds of flavors. You could do sweet, you can do savory. They're getting a little dry when it's running away. So I'm gonna add just a little bit of vegetable broth or water. And I would say sweet potatoes still al dente. So they need to go back in the oven. Every time I open the lid, Dijon. One of the first things I can smell. Just looking good. Not too exciting yet. And it was the box and stuff. So, kind of follow package directions and just kind of watch. And, it says al dente perfection in 10 to 11 minutes. So, we've got like 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. So depending on your pasta and depending on, what cooking mechanisms are, like what your stove is and stuff, depends on how long it's going to take for you on that. But still have a half a box left. So pull the stroganoff off to the side. Caesar salad. Out. Arugula. We have avocado. Our dressing ingredients. Brussels sprouts. Another thing Jerry didn't used to like. And I would say, I don't know if I'll look at them and say, so I don't know if you like roasted Brussels sprouts is probably not one of your favorites, unless it's little pieces of it.
Oh, yes.
But I think
I like pieces. I don't like a big chunk.
Yeah, you didn't like big chunks of Brussels sprouts, like when they do those. But back in the days and stuff, of course, when you do it with oils and bacon and all kinds of things like that, everybody loves Brussels sprouts. But as far as putting into salads and things and sauteing them up that way, he's a big fan of that. So kind of converted him on Brussels sprouts and chickpeas. It's good. Chickpeas he kind of converted on his own. Especially with like a mock tuna salad. We do that a lot. All right. Okay. So we're going to grab a big bowl again. And then we're going to add, so the sweet potatoes and the chickpeas and stuff are in the oven. So we've got, so you got large heads of your favorite lettuce. So we're using arugula because I haven't done arugula in quite a while. You could do kale. You could do a mixture of all the different lettuces. You could buy, like those spring mixes, whatever you want to do. It's just because we haven't done arugula for a while. And I figured if I have leftover arugula, I have another salad that has like grapes in it and has a really good balsamic dressing, which we call it the crack, C-R-A-C-K. Not somebody thought I said crap dressing, but it's crack dressing. Really good and stuff. So I'll probably end up using like over the weekend and stuff, use more arugula and make a salad that way. It has roasted walnuts and And it's the crack, I have to say that right, because otherwise it sounds like crap. The crack dressing, that's a balsamic dressing, has no oil or anything in it. And when I make it up, I make it in like a mason quart jar. It's the reason why we call it that is, or a friend of ours called it that, because they said, I used to do nothing but blue cheese dressing until I tried this dressing, and this dressing's like crack. I just want more and more. And so it's funny when we take it over to, for parties and stuff at their house, they're always like, when I take the dressing, I always make double, triple the amount. And they're like, did you bring us, are you gonna leave us the dressing? And I'm like, yes, you can have the dressing. I'll make more at home. So if you want that recipe, just send me an email. So you've got the email in the chat. So Kelley at Kelley at plantbasedkitchen.com. And I'll send you the crack dressing recipe. It's really good. And it has like flax seeds in it, so good for you, but it also makes it thicker, which is really nice. So it's not like a balsamic vinegar and stuff that's, kind of runs to the bottom of your bowl. It's good stuff. Jerry eats it probably, I don't say every time we have salads, he's eating it. And then I'll mix up, sometimes I'll do like a white balsamic, sometimes I'll mix it up to different flavors, but I would say 9 times out of 10, it's the crack dressing. All right, so arugula. Pull that out. I used to not like arugula, so I've trained myself to like it, but because I used to find that, I grew up in Kansas, and pretty much it was what's the iceberg? So it's pretty much iceberg lettuce. So then I end up came to Colorado, and it was like really loved romaine lettuce. That's one of my favorites. And then I was like, okay, so I'm gonna start branching out. And so finally got to where I did a couple recipes with arugula. Now I love it. Now it's great. See how much that is. So that's probably about half this container. And this container is 10 ounces, so about 5 ounces. But feel free to use, they say these seal back really well. It's like peel and then seal it back. Not necessarily seal that well. But you could add, you could do spinach. You could, arugula has, it's really big pieces. So if you want to chop it up, you can do that also. But I like it just the way it is. But kale would be good. There's just so many other things out there that you can add in. Just kind of keep stirring a little bit, because every once in a while your noodles are going to want to stick to the bottom of your pan. My noodles are definitely soaking up the moisture, so I'm going to add about another 1/4 cup. If I need to add some more, I'll just add some water. All right, so arugula, Brussels sprouts. I just took them, and you can do them on like a mandolin if you wanted to. I just did them by hand, so I just chopped up little pieces of Brussels sprouts. So that's about 3.5, 4 cups. You can do less, you can do more, depending on your love of Brussels sprouts. I kind of look at it, if you want to substitute and you're like, I don't like Brussels sprouts. Something my mom made me, sit at the table and have to eat. You couldn't leave the table until you ate your Brussels sprouts, which sometimes it was broccoli and that. You could substitute in like a red or green cabbage. Would be another way that you could substitute. Just doing a quick mix. So you got everything all mixed in. Pieces everywhere. All right, so that's ready right now, other than when I'm going to add the sweet potatoes and the chickpeas. So I'm just going to kind of put it off to the side. That way we just have it ready to go. So the nice thing about it is your Brussels sprouts are more like a cabbage type of a flavor, so hearty flavor. And then you got the arugula, which is more of a peppery. So once you add this dressing onto it, and you've got, it's kind of the sweet potatoes and the chickpeas and the avocado, which is adds your creaminess. You're gonna get a lot of those different flavors. So everything on your taste buds on your tongue are gonna be a-okay, happy today. Just check the oven again. Then we'll get the dressing going. That's wrong one. Okay, let's try a small little piece. I'd say they're about a minute or two away. Chickpea. Very good. Not a lot of spice. That chipotle Philly adds a little bit of a kick and stuff, but it's not like it's overpowering. I'm just watching and stirring because noodles tend to stick. But the noodles are starting to open up. They're starting to get more of the al dente, which is great. Great. Dressing. I'll do a blender. This is my old blender container, just because it's you can tell it's foggy versus, you know, it's one of those things that they always say that you can't really get the fogginess out of them. I've tried many different things, but I've had it forever. But I like it because it's really small. So when I'm making dressings, I've got one that's really big. I'll show you that I love for smoothies and things like that. So, you know, when you're making a dressing, you're not making a lot of dressing. It gets lost in these larger blender. So I just ordered a new one because I needed one anyway, because this one got cracked at one of our cooking classes. And so I just ordered a new one and stuff. But then I was like, wow, that's too big for dressing, especially when I'm only making like a couple tablespoons here and a couple tablespoons there. So I just use this one when I'm ready for that. So juice of 2 lemons. Notice I just have a seed in there. You can buy lemon juice already. So it's like the, you know, it's in the jars. It's good. We talked about that on Chef AJ's show about that's a quick shortcut. You can get lime juice and lemon juice that's in the stores. It's in the juice where all the juices are, the bottle juices, or I happen to have some lemons that needed to be used. So we did fresh lemon juice this time. Dijon mustard, 2 tablespoons. A lot of similarities between the 2 recipes. It's kind of fun when I was mise en place and stuff last night. It was like 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard for this one and 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard for this one. So a lot of the same flavors and ingredients that I was mixing up. There. Still chewing, so for a couple minutes, that'll be good. Tastes good though. The sauce is really good, even with the mushrooms. So 2 tablespoons Dijon mustard, juice of 2 lemons. We've got tahini, so 2 tablespoons of tahini. So that's actually sesame seeds. We don't, you know, we have the tahini. We don't use it a lot, but it's kind of nice when you're, you know, if you're making a hummus type of thing to give you the creaminess and the smoothness. If you wanted to change it out, you could also do, if you don't want to do tahini because you're like, I don't have any tahini, don't want to buy any tahini. If you've got something like almond butter, that would be another one that's, you know, like a raw almond butter. That would be something you could change it out with. 2 teaspoons of vegan Worcestershire. Amy's has a really good one, but also if you're in Colorado, they have a Kroger brand, which is King Soopers Kroger. They actually have a vegan Worcestershire, which is really nice, a lot cheaper. 1 clove garlic minced. You can see that's kind of, you got a little bit of the mustard, the Dijon mustard, and you've got a little bit of the other flavors and stuff. So you're getting kind of like a little bit of spicy, a little bit of kick, a little bit of citrus so far. Got the garlic in there, sea salt, black pepper to taste. I'll just do a little bit of black pepper. And then 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. So that's what I'm going to add there. This one, I'll show you the brand. I usually get asked questions about the brand. There's so many good balsamics and there's so many balsamic companies out there now that are making them. This is one that is in all the stores. So Napa Valley Naturals balsamic vinegar. And the one I really like is the Grand Reserves. And I think these are like $9.99 a jar, something like that. But then, you know, in my cabinets, I don't know if you can see them enough, but the cabinets, I have tons of other balsamics. So, you know, if I'm looking to make maybe, like I want to mix it up a little bit, like put like an apple flavor on this one or something, I can add those different flavors. But I would say 9 times out of 10, I go for that one just because I like it. We'll just stir one more time where we're. A little bit of water. This pasta is definitely soaking up all the moisture. That's why I say always watch it. Don't just let it sit for 10, 15 minutes because you may have a pasta that is going to soak up the moisture. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to put this on the blender. It's only going to just take just a minute to mix it up. Quick taste. We'll do that one since it already has all the mustard and everything on it. So it was really dark and stuff, but when we blended it up, of course, everything gets mixed together with the Dijon. So it becomes kind of a cafe latte, I guess. So it has so flavor profile you've got the citrus because you've got your lemon in there. So if you're not a big lemon fan, go less on the lemon. And then it has the creaminess because of the tahini is adding the thickness to it. And it's got a little bit of the roasted kind of a nut flavor. And then of course the Dijon comes out and then a little bit of the balsamic vinegar. So very, I would say not sweet, not tart. It's just very kind of like in that middle, which is really good considering that we have like a chipotle chili powder and the other ingredients are gonna go there. One thing that you could add, because you know Caesar salads a lot of times are very cheesy with Parmesan cheese, you could add a little bit of nutritional yeast into this too. So if you wanted to get that really cheesy flavor, just add some nutritional yeast and blend it up. And I would say start out with probably half a teaspoon first, and then maybe go up to like a teaspoon or a teaspoon and a half, depending on the cheesy flavor profile that you're looking for. But I'm not going to add it to this. It's just a very nice dressing that just a nice color and just a really good flavor. And then with the arugula, like I said, it's because it's not so sweet. It's going to blend very well with the peppery flavors and all that. So I'll set that off to the side. I'll just put that over here. Let me grab out the. So there's the sweet potatoes and the chickpeas all ready to go. That way. I'm gonna let them cool just a little bit. So this would be one if you did it the day before. Of course, everything's going to be to room temperature or it's been in the refrigerator and it's cold. This is going to be a little bit warm, so that's okay because you could do the warm sweet potatoes and the chickpeas on the salad and put the dressing on and stuff, and then you kind of have a room temperature to a little warm salad, which will be really good too. And then you're going to have the creaminess of the avocado. So let me just set it off to the side for a minute, let them cool. So there's a flavor profile, not spicy. It's a little amped up, but definitely not like if you're getting something that has like a lot of peppers and it's hot. Not all. All right. I'm getting my pasta facial for the day. Okay, let me try one of the noodles. So they're kind of pretty. They look like little trumpet flowers or something like that they talk about. It's pretty. About another half minute, but good. I'll show you what it looks like. Very pretty. Just a little bit more water as we're letting it sit there for a minute or two. And dressing. Okay. Now we're going to do the avocado. So it's one avocado that's on the recipe. It depends on what you want to do. If you're, you're kind of watching, like I know a lot of people are watching, fat intake and things like that. So what I would recommend is once you put the so the sweet potatoes and the chickpeas on the salad and you kind of start mixing some things together, I would probably do like a half of avocado, and I might even, just put like 3 or 4 slices on the top, but up to you. One of the things, another tip and trick that we always show. So grab that for a second. Beautiful avocado. Never know when you open up. So always nice to see. So we have these things that we got them off of Amazon because everything's on Amazon these days. But these are Avo Savers. So AVO, so the first of the avocado saver. I think they were like 2 for under $10. And so you'll see that there's the seed hole here. So when you've got an avocado, you can put it on top like that, wrap it in a strap like that, and then it'll keep in the refrigerator. We've kept it up to a week. Every once in a while, you'll get a little bit of browning around the edges, and you can just take a knife and just kind of slice that off. But then it keeps your avocados and stuff fresh and ready to use, which is really nice. And that wasn't something I discovered. I happened to see there was a girl at work when we were, before COVID at work and things, and she was bringing this in for her salads, and I was like, "That's really cool. Where did you get that?" Amazon. Let's put that in the fridge when we're done. Grab a big spoon. So we're just going to do we're going to just do little slices. And fan it out. I just have a nice little fanned avocado. That way it's easy to grab the slices when you're looking for them. All right, I think that is ready. So let's finish up the mushroom stroganoff so we can make everything together. That looks really pretty. All right, so now we're gonna stir in the plant-based milk. So I just use soy milk, and it's 4 to 6 tablespoons. And what I'll recommend on this one is, depending on how creamy you want it, is how much of the plant-based milk that you're gonna want to add. So when you've got a lot of pasta, I'd recommend doubling it. So I'm just going to grab my soy-based milk. Mushroom running away there. That's going to pretty much double it for me. Then we're going to add the lemon juice. And then we have fresh basil. So we're going to we'll start out with like 3 leaves, big leaves. What I do is I grab all the leaves together, unfold them like that, put the biggest one on the bottom. That. Then just take them like you're rolling up a cigar. That. Grab your knife. Has a little bit of avocado on it. And then I'm just going to do a chiffonade cut. So it's just small little cuts all the way down your basil. So at the next dinner party, you'd be like, hold on a second, I need to chiffonade my basil. And it's nice because what it does is it gives little ribbons of basil. If you don't want to buy fresh basil, but I'll give you a tip of how you can store it. If you don't want to buy fresh basil, then just use your jarred basil, your dried basil. We go through a lot of basil in the house, so I would say that, as far as having fresh basil on hand, easy to do. So let's just say that you use that, 4 or 5 pieces of it and you're like, oh, what am I going to do with the rest of this? And basil goes bad really quick unless you have a basil plant. Just take it, pull all the leaves off of the stems and put it in a baggie and put it in your freezer. And then the next time and stuff you're ready to, like, you've got a marinara sauce or something to add basil or this, you just basically take it out, kind of crunch it up a little bit or pull the actual basil out and put it in your dish and stuff. And then you've got fresh basil. Same thing with ginger, freeze it. Garlic, roasted garlic, freeze it. And add just a little bit more. Pull that to the side because we'll do some garnish on the top. I like the frozen, so Christine says, I like the frozen basil cubes filled in the freezer section. Same with ginger cubes and garlic cubes. You know what? I have never used those, but I love that as a tip and trick because why not? If, it talks about, if you want, you want some quick basil, you want ginger, I agree with that, and garlic, do it. That's a great idea. And I'm going to have to go look now. Love it. Okay, so that's ready to go. I'm just going to turn that off because we need to get the salad going. Not hot anymore. Heck with that. This is why you do parchment paper. Easy cleanup and a handy dandy funnel. So just like even on the top, isn't that beautiful? Nice fall, kind of winter looking salad. Just mix it up. All right, dressing wise. So I'm going to take a small amount. I'm going to actually do a small amount. Of course, if you put dressing on the salad, what ends up happening, it gets usually soggy the next day. So just in case we don't eat all the salad, pull it out. That way I can keep it fresh and eat it for a few days. Enough for dinner. There we go. Dressing. Glove, check the time, right at time. Plate up. So get in there to the glove, massage in your dressing. That way it holds on to all of your ingredients, which is really nice. And then the way you can test to see if you've got enough dressing is to try one of your pieces of lettuce. And since I have a Brussels sprout, what do I have? All good. Let's plate. That on top. That is ready. Got a spoon. Mushroom stroganoff coming. And like I said, you could add as much creaminess as you want. So if you want to add have even more of the sauce, just add a little bit more plant-based milk. Dish it up in one bowl. And if you love mushrooms, this is the dish for you. All right, let me grab 2 basil leaves, roll up, chiffonade. And I'm sloppy. All right. Don't lean over and end up with avocado down in front of me. Yummy mushroom stroganoff. Like I said, I will be adding some peas and broccoli, steamed broccoli and stuff to it, just because not me and mushrooms. Got in this hand, nice and hot and smells wonderful. And then a little bit of an amped up Caesar salad. So that is our dinner for tonight. You can see that there's a lot of different flavor profiles there's the same flavor profiles between the 2 of them, and easy to make and easy to get ready. And the cool thing about it is if you're making this just for yourself or 2 of you, you get leftovers the next day. Guarantee you, Jerry will be at the refrigerator at probably about 10:30, 10:45 to eat both of these. So we won't have many leftovers as of tomorrow. Lunch for him tomorrow. So I hope you guys enjoyed. We do have a class coming up next week, so it'll be on Thursday. Just because, like I said, I'm going to go and I'll send out some information. I'll be on this the CNS Kitchen, which is T. Colin Campbell's new kitchen spot. So I'll be doing a show with that with Del Schroff. If you don't know Chef Del, he's absolutely wonderful. And then I'll get all the recipes and stuff going for February and March. If you have any suggestions, any things you want to see, just type it in the chat. Let us know. Happy to do, if it's cheese sauces, whatever you guys are looking for out there. Happy to always add, and I hope you guys enjoy. If you change up the recipe or do something different, let me know. I always love hearing what you guys do. So, all right, well, I will let you go. Enjoy the rest of your evening and love you guys. Have a great rest of your night. Bye-bye.